Collingwood and Essendon, between them, have won 27 premierships, but this is their first grand final battle in 80 years. Under Kevin Sheedy, the Bombers won 2 premierships in the 80s. Their 1985 team is one of the greatest. Collingwood's misfortune in grand finals is a part of football folklore. The brave runs of Gavalik and Manasseh have in the end accounted for nothing. 8 of the 20 men who'll play for the Bombers have experienced the sensation that comes with winning on this day. Not a single Collingwood player was born when the Magpies last won in 1958. This is football's most celebrated day, when one team triumphs, and today more than ever, it is an emotional occasion. Collingwood and Essendon, the 1990 Grand Final. Good afternoon and welcome to the Melbourne Cricket Ground for the 1990 AFL Grand Final, Collingwood versus Essendon. Almost 100,000 people in at the cricket ground today, and through 7 Sport, a worldwide television audience estimated at around 70 million. And it's ironic in this year of the very first AFL Grand Final that 2 clubs who have been at the heart and soul of Victorian football have earned the right to play for the premiership. Collingwood is one of the most famous sporting clubs in Australia. Their fans are fanatical. 12,000 turned up at training on Thursday night, and for many of them today is the most important afternoon of their lives. And the reward for the players this afternoon is a place in heaven if they can win with those adoring fans. But this grand final is no one-way street, because Essendon also enjoys huge support. And look at the incentives for the Bombers. If they win today, they'll match their achievement of winning the very first VFL premiership way back in 1897. They'll equal Carlton's record of 15 flags, and they will deny Collingwood a victory yet again. And maybe for the Essendon players, that's just the spur they want this afternoon. So on this very pleasant spring day in Melbourne, for this towering match, it is a perfect stage, and we really should see something special. Wayne Grady, the Australian golfer, produced something special earlier this year when he became the 3rd Australian to win the US PGA Championship. He is a special guest of the AFL today, and Wayne is going to enjoy his very first Australian Rules Grand Final. He's a sports nut, and he's looking forward to it. There's a wonderful atmosphere in here today, as you'd expect on Grand Final day. There's a great shot from the Channel 7 helicopter, a tremendous scene with this ground almost jam-packed, and it really is a great sight. Well, 2 men who have been here today, in fact, they've experienced the bitterness of losing grand finals, Peter McKenna, who was with Collingwood in 1970, and Ross Glendinning, who was with North Melbourne in 1978. Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon, Ross. I'd love to know what goes through a player's mind half an hour before a big match.
Well, I think players are obviously very nervous, Peter and Bruce. It's one of those things where you're just itching to get out on the ground and get your first touch of the leather, and just get out on the ground, go through the banner, get warmed up. You just want the game to start, Peter, don't you?
I'd echo those sentiments too. It's a very nerve-wracking time, particularly that half an hour before the game. You lace up your boots and you get a rub down, but all you want to do is just get out there and tear into the fray.
Let's have a look at the teams. First question, will Richardson play for Collingwood?
Well, apparently he does under very much of a cloud, and we look at that full back line. I mean, really their back line has been the cornerstone of this side all year, and Christian with a big task on Salmon if he lines up there, and Michael Gaffer, of course, a very fine tagging defender.
Coach Kevin Sheedy can slot Alan Izzard into numerous positions because of his pace, natural spring and tremendous goal sense. His finals experience will again be called upon.
And Alan Izzard, of course, has been a fine goal kicker for the Essendon Football Club, but he also has played better football, I think, as a tagging rover, and he could very much have that role today on Tony Francis. And Sam, as I mentioned, big task to him up forward, and Kieran Spawn comes in. Not played a lot of football this season, but he's a very good player, and I like him there on that full forward line.
Well, the game could be won or lost here. Essendon's half-forward line hasn't been in great form in recent weeks, but there's a lot of talent there. Mark Harvey, a courageous player. Van der Haar, courageous. Some talk that he may not even line up. Peter Kransberg has been a great player since coming across from Western Australia. But look at that half-back line. Very strong and tough. Morwood, Kelly and Francisco. 3 very tight, hard-hitting players.
A winning centre line can dominate a game, and the Pies boast a ripper. One of those midfielders is Graham Wright, a gutsy performer who missed this year's coveted Brownlow medal by a solitary vote.
Yes, and hasn't grown right, had a fine season in forms a fantastic centre line there with Tony Shaw and Darren Mullane, three very, very good players, and they front three other fine players as well from Essendon. Anderson kicking along. A better duel across the centre line you would not see in any other football game.
Dennis Banks, at 29, is one of the Collingwood veterans. Injuries have denied the rugged utility of many games, but he's back in action and can be used at either end of the ground.
Well, Dennis Banks has been a surprise packet this year. He's had a terrific year, and James Manson, an ugly kicker, of course, but a real contested. Barwick, a great kick of a football. Essendon half-back line, very good. Grenville, Terry Danaher, great experience. O'Donnell, who will obviously have the job on Dacos, a big task again for Gary O'Donnell.
And the forwards there, the dangerous trio, but more so the duo of Dacos and Brown. Dacos, as Peter mentioned, likely to be picked up by O'Donnell, and Brown had trouble, or gave trouble to Anthony Danaher. Terry Danaher picked him up in the latter half of their previous encounter. Did not such a bad job, but a big task there for the Essendon full back line.
Simon Madden is a living legend at Windy Hill. His brilliant ruck display last week silenced many critics, and with back-to-back flags in 84 and 85, would love to add another.
Well, I'll be surprised if Moncourse lines up there. I think that the big fella Manson will line up against Madden. Madden will ruck, and I wouldn't be surprised if he interchanges with Somerville. Watson, a fantastic player against Maguire, who's had a sensational year, and Little Francis, coming from Western Australia, has made all the difference to this Collingwood side. Again, he's against a real speedster too in Darren Buick, so that'll be a great clash in the following division.
And both coaches have elected to have a taller and a smaller medium-sized player on their bench, with Turner and Starcevich for Collingwood, Chris Danaher and Somerville for Essendon.
So we've looked at the teams. We're about to look at the parachuters who are about to land Bill Kenny and David Bolter as part of the pre-match entertainment. David Bolter, who was the first to go tandem at night, and that's Bill Kenny, who has jumped from 32,000 feet. Andrew Harris, the son of George Harris, the former president of the Carlton Football Club, was flying the helicopter, piloting it, and here's David Bolter coming in. Bill Kenny's already landed, and David's about to get one of the great sights in Australian sport when he lands on the Melbourne Cricket Ground on grand final day. Pretty tricky conditions for them today. A real spring breeze blowing here at the cricket ground.
Isn't that something?
As David makes his way down. He's a real daredevil. I've worked with him as a cameraman in the past. And there's the view from the chopper. So we're almost getting a bird's eye view. X marks the spot. Let's see how close he gets, and he's not far out. Well done. Spot on. David Bolter, who really made a hit here on grand final day. Well, there's a fantastic competition going on today throughout Seven Sport. You get the opportunity to pick the mark of the year. It's the Ford Seven Sport mark of the year. Let's take a look at the 5 big ones for 1990.
Centres the ball. Ablett.
Mark 1, Gary Ablett, Geelong. Mark 2, Troy Ugal, West Coast Eagles. Mark 3, Nicky Winmar, St Kilda. Mark 4, Darren Mullane, Collingwood. Mark 5, Michael Mitchell, Richmond.
What a mark, Michael Mitchell! So all you have to do is to ring these numbers to register your vote. The important thing here, ring 00, not 000. They're the emergency numbers. So Ablett is 00 555 811. You can see Ugal 222, Winmar 333, Mullane 444, Mitchell 555, and the winner today will receive a Ford Laser GL hatch and the winning player as well. People still coming into the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and for that Ford competition you have until 4 o'clock Eastern time, so keep trying if you can't get through yet. Great scenes from the chopper here today. These two teams have been working up for this grand final for 11 months. The season started at the end of March, and both of them reckon that they're bound for glory. ground now, a completely full stadium, and each year the AFL invites a special guest to sing Waltzing Matilda at the grand final. This year it's the boy from Northcote, Normie Rowe, who was Australia's first pop star in the 1960s. Remember those great songs like K Sarah Sarah, It Ain't Necessarily So, and Shaking All Over? And even more recently as one of the stars of the Australian production of Les Miserables. Normie's a real Essendon supporter. He's been allowed to go down in the rooms before the game, and this must be one of the great moments of his life because he does have a sporting heritage. Normie Rowe about to sing for us, Waltzing Matilda.
Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down came a jumbuck to drink from the billabong. Up jumped the swagman and grabbed him with glee. And he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Let me hear you. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he shoved that jumbuck in his tucker bag. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Down came a squatter, mounted on his thoroughbred. Up rode a trooper, 1, 2, 3. Hey, where's that jolly jumbuck you've got in that tucker bag? Ha! You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Everybody, waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Where's that jolly jumbuck you've got in the tucker bag? You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. Now, up jumped the swagman and sprang into the billabong. You'll never catch me alive, said he. And his ghost may be heard as you pass by the billabong. Matilda, ah, waltzing Matilda, ah, waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me, and his ghost may be heard as you pass by that billabong. Waltzing Matilda.
Song that can really stir a nation. Normie Rowe with Waltzing Matilda as we take a break. Back with more from the grand final after this. Welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Collingwood on the ground, and the big news is that Shane Kerrison is out there, and we haven't seen Alan Richardson, so it looks as if Kerrison is into the 20, and Richardson may have missed out. You can see Kerrison with the tracksuit top on. It had been rumoured all week that Richardson may not play, and here's Tim Watson, who's been here before, a winning player in 1984 and 85 with Essendon, along with Simon Madden behind him. So here come the Bombers. 8 out of the 20 have experienced winning a grand final here in 1985, and 7 of those 8 were here also in 1984. Alan Izard is one of them. So they've been here before. For Collingwood, just 3 of their players have played in a grand final. Banks in 79, and then after him, Dacos and Tony Shaw. Dacos in 80-81. But Essendon, who was top of the table for 13 of the 22 weeks, suddenly find themselves as the underdog. Michael Roberts is going to have a spectacular view today at ground level. Michael, the condition of the ground and also the weather.
Well, Bruce, right through the final series, we've had tremendous weather, and for the big one, that wind has lifted, but the sun's out here at the MCG. It looks fantastic. The current temperature at the moment is 18 degrees, the expected top 18, the relative humidity 54%, the wind gusting up to 10 kilometres, heading left of screen to the left half-forward flank northern stand, a 2 to 3 goal advantage there. The ground is firm, excellent condition, and the forecast fine and sunny.
Thanks for that, Michael Roberts. Well, Dixie Marshall's high in the sky in the Channel 7 helicopter. Dixie, it must be an eerie feeling up there.
Bruce, I know it's a cliche, but this is picture postcard stuff. It's a very special view from here, as you say, almost eerie. All around the MCG, the streets and the homes are quiet, and yet there's this one mass of colour and noise and people lumped together at Australia's most famous sporting ground here in the very middle of Melbourne. Now, while all the traffic chaos of this morning is he's down on the ground, predictably, it's a bit like Swanston Street in rush hour up here. There's half a dozen aircraft hovering around, and while they know the rules of the skies and aren't a worry, the real heart flutters come when we go through the masses of balloons that they've just let off down there, and all you can hear is pop, pop, pop as they hit the tail rotors. So, Bruce, a wonderful sight, but I'll be very glad to get back down there with you.
Stay nice and safe. Dixie Marshall in the chopper. Alan Jeans will be tossing the coin today. Alan, who coached 553 games, second only to Jock Mahale. 4 premierships, the first at St Kilda in 1966, 3 with Hawthorn in 83, 86, 89. And he's with Normie Rowe, and Alan Jeans knows just what it's like to beat Collingwood in a grand final. He did it in 66, and what it's like to beat Essendon. He did that by a record margin in 1983. Peter McKenna, Ross Glendinning, who'll win?
Well, you don't have to ask me, Bruce. I think that Collingwood will win. I'm a little bit biased. My heart says Collingwood. I think they'll win, but not by a lot.
You agree? Okay, so Collingwood, the favourites up here. Collingwood with Ross Glendinning and also with Peter McKenna. Michael Roberts and Bernie Quinlan at ground level. Your selection, Michael?
Well, I'm going for Collingwood. I know that Essendon have got a lot of experience, but I think that Collingwood are going to be playing for a hell of a lot more. There's some excited young gentlemen in the Woods camp, and I'm going for Collingwood to win a pretty close one.
Yes, I'm also going for Collingwood, Bruce. I think it'll be much closer than the second semi-final. I think Essendon will be a lot more competitive, but the windy conditions, I think, will suit Collingwood. I think with their stronger players at ground level, Collingwood to win the big one.
Bernie Quinlan going for Collingwood. As we take a look at the season's meetings, Essendon beat Collingwood at the MCG in round 6, 101 to 75. We won't forget round 19 at Waverley, that live match in Melbourne, 13-6 to 11-12. But it was a 63-point margin to Collingwood in the second semi-final, 17-15 to 7-12. The last 6 teams that have won the second semi have gone on to win the premiership. The umpires today, Dennis Rich in his first grand final, and Rowan Saws, who will be officiating in his 4th. So the big news so far is that Shane Kerrison is stripped and will be playing for Collingwood today, and there doesn't seem to be any changes in the Essendon lineup. Kevin Sheedy, 2 premierships under his belt. He's played as a premiership player, of course, with Richmond. He was captain of that club. There's Kerrison. How excited must he be today, knowing that he's got the chance, maybe, to play in the first Collingwood premiership in 32 years. These players will be immortalised today if they can win. And as I said before, not one of them was born when Collingwood won that premiership in 1958. Lee Matthews has done everything there is possible in football. He was captain of Hawthorn when they won a premiership. He's played in premiership teams. He's been one of the greatest players of the game. Today he has a chance to coach a winning team. Tim Watson would love to lead Essendon to a victory. Terry Danaher did that in 1984 and 85. Time for the national anthem, Advance Australia Fair. Normie Rowe with the Victorian Children's Choir, the Australian national anthem.
By Normie Rowe, together with the Victorian Children's Choir. Thank you.
set for what should be a memorable grand final. Our commentators today, Sandy Roberts and Ian Robertson. Special comments from Don Scott, and Sandy Lee Matthews has already pulled the first surprise. Kerrison for Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Bruce, and good afternoon, everyone. Let's go down for the toss now. Alan Jeans. Quite a moment for him. Tim Watson and Tony Shorley and Michael Roberts.
Got the coin. He's put it in the air. It's landed on heads. I think Tim Watson has won the toss. He's going right of screen to the main scoreboard end.
So Essendon kicking to the right, Collingwood to the left, and as I welcome Ian Robertson and Don Scott to the microphone, Don, can you just explain the wind situation here at the MCG for this game?
Well, just looking at the papers, Sandy, that are now rising from the ground, it is very hard to predict which end is going to be favoured, because those pieces of paper are just fluttering in the breeze and really not going anywhere. So it's a swirly breeze. You can see there on screen, they're not really favouring any area. And because of the grandstand situation here, there is not much wind advantage at all.
Selections, Ian. Most of our gentlemen so far have chosen Collingwood. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm sticking with Essendon, Sandy. They played very well throughout the year and were only beaten by a maximum margin of 26 points, I think it was, by Melbourne earlier in the season. They finished at the end of the 22 games on top. They had a hiccup in the second semi-final here against Collingwood, and they certainly can improve on that performance, and I expect them to win by about 17 points.
And Don?
Well, I'm favouring Collingwood just. With the interest now, Sandy, as to who is going to line up on that interchange bench. We know that Richardson is not out there. Kerrison has come into the side, and for Essendon, Somerville, we can see him going off. His father played in a premiership side here against Collingwood. And also Spawn and Starcevic and Jamie Turner coming on for Collingwood. So Kerrison starting on the ground.
And now it's your turn, Sandy. Who are you tipping?
Collingwood by 5 points.
What a great atmosphere. I mean, if you can't get excited about this.
Some interesting matchups already. Cransberg on the wing on right. You can see there the feeling. Monkhurst, Anthony Danaher. We all remember back to last year, Yates ran through Brereton at the first bounce, so anything could happen.
100,000 people. Raw as one. The game's greatest prize is up for grabs.